DJ Chuckie's in the house.
You are live.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Faded Truth. Today I got DJ Chuckie on the show. What's up, Chuckie? How are you?
I'm great. Despite these crazy times, I'm good.
You're in Amsterdam right now?
I'm in Amsterdam right now. It's it's kind of late.
Okay. And what are you doing out there?
I'm like 9 hours ahead of you.
What are you doing out there?
So I got a house in Amsterdam. I got a house in Aruba, and for the whole Corona crisis, I just decided to stay in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay. So you're there. You're there just for personal. You're not even there for working.
No, not really. But I try to stay busy, So I've been setting up live streams lately.
Okay.
Like I think about 2 months ago, I didn't know anything about live streaming, because I didn't felt like streaming, because I'm used to getting paid for my work, and now I have to find different ways of still getting paid. So I started to stream, and I basically built a platform for sponsors to join in and still get paid in a certain way.
What's that? Is there the name of the stream? Is there a specific name?
So I do Chuckie and Friends. It's basically my live stream. I broadcast, multi-broadcast on like Zoom, but also like Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay.
So I got like a whole setup, and it's very interactive because because of Zoom, it's basically like being part of the whole event, which is really cool. So I'm really happy with what I'm doing, and like I said, it's basically to keep myself busy.
Yeah, I haven't Zoomed yet. I've been like FaceTiming up to like 4 people, but I haven't done the Zoom thing yet. And I just learned the StreamYard too, like a couple weeks ago. I've never streamed ever. I've never done anything technical ever. So this is a lot for me. You were born and raised in the Netherlands, correct?
No, I was born and raised in Suriname. It's a small country in the north of South America. That's
I hate Wikipedia.
2 countries next to Venezuela, right above Brazil. And then we moved to Holland. I moved to Holland at the age of 7.
Wow.
And basically raised here.
What's the name of the country?
Suriname.
Suriname. Okay, because it said you were Surinamese, and I was like, "What is that? I've never heard of that." So it's a Is it Latin or Portuguese?
It's basically the only non-Latin country in South America.
Okay.
It used to be a Dutch colony.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
That's why we have the connection with the Netherlands.
Is that where the Dutch comes from? Like
basically, yeah.
So growing up, so then when did you move to the States?
I actually never moved to the States, but I've been in the States so much that I even started to believe I live in the States. I was planning to move to the States like 6 years ago, but then I chose Aruba.
Oh, nice. Aruba, Jamaica.
Exactly, because it's like a 2-hour flight from Aruba to Miami, So for me, it's like basically living in the States. I do have a company set up in the States. Yeah.
So when was the first part of your life where you thought, or that you realized your ears loved music, like that you were like, okay, this beat sounds cool? Like, when did you even start getting into thinking about anything along the lines of what you're doing now?
Well, that's kind of crazy because my best friend used to be a DJ, and he used to DJ at all these birthday parties and school events, and I helped him set up his equipment when I was like 15. So that's a long time ago. And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was like, oh wow, this shit is cool, I definitely want to try it myself. So I gathered like equipment from all over the place, old records I could find from my friends and family or in the basement, basically assembled like some form of a setup and started practicing. That was at the age of 15, and obviously 26 years later, I'm DJing. I was DJing worldwide, I was gonna say, but it's crazy because I never thought about I dreamed of a DJ career, but I never thought that DJing could take me all over the world, And you had no examples of DJs traveling the world for a start, So that was kind of crazy. And that for example, my first time I went to the States I went to the States for a gig, was like 2008, 2009. I didn't even have a permit yet back then. And my friend invited me because I had a big record, Let the Bass Kick. I'm in Miami Beach, and my friend invited me to come to Vegas, of all places. I'm just gonna get you like a sneaky gig, So we did Dre's like after hours video with Lil Jon, and like we literally, like, I almost want to say we wrote history that night because it was crazy. After hours never were this crazy, and we basically turned the whole place upside down. And apparently the whole industry heard about it, and that's how I got offered my first residency in Vegas with the Tau group. Started so when they opened up Marquee, I was basically the first DJ to open up that place. That's back in 2009, 2010.
Oh, okay. So you were the first DJ at Marquee?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
wow. Okay.
I did a grand opening. I did the opening of Omnia. Jesus, and it's been crazy. And like those kind of moments, I definitely realized like, oh shit, you I could have never thought that my craft or my hobby would take me that far. And I had a couple of those moments in my life. Like the first time I did my own show for like 5,000 people, and people came specifically to see me. Those kind of moments were like, oh, okay, you accomplished something.
Wait, your first show was 5,000 people?
My first big show for me, like I mean, I did multiple parties, but my first own event, which was a Dirty Dutch event, was for like 5,000 people. And then like 3 years, 4 years later, I did a Dirty Dutch event for 30,000 people. Those were definitely moments I was like, okay, that's crazy.
Right, because you have the whole crowd just
Coming
staring
to see
at you.
you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
even my first international gig was like, okay, they are really paying me to get on a plane and to party with them, and I'm still getting paid.
What was your first gig, or yeah, where did you start? What was your equipment? Like, were you just like hanging out on like a little, because it's like the older days, like did they
Yeah.
have the equipment?
So basically, one of my friends was DJing at this club right here in Holland, and he's like, yo, it was a Thursday night, and he's like, yo, come hang out with me. I'm gonna give you like a little slot to play, and hopefully the owner likes you. So he gave me like a little 30-minute slot, and then after my set, the owner of the club came like, yo, I love your set. I want you to come play for me on Saturday. And I'm like, I do want. He's like, just come play for a couple of hours. And I'm like, I do want to play for you a couple of hours, but to be honest, I don't have enough records, and I don't have the money to buy enough records. So the guy was like, yo, here's $1,000, buy some records and come play for me on Saturday. And whenever you can, just pay me back. So unfortunately, I was never able to pay the guy back because he passed away. But I will never forget that moment. Like the little things, that people give you the opportunity to to grow. And I think that's why I was always very, very, very keen on giving other people chances. That's like a chance. That's why everything I do is like built in a platform kind of way. Like even when I set up my own Dirty Dutch label, I was always like, you know what, I want to give people a chance, like
Okay.
that same chance somebody
Right.
gave me.
Because you just
Yeah.
need that one opportunity,
Yeah, one
you know?
opportunity is all. Yeah, and some people run away with it, and some people don't even see the opportunity.
And some people,
Yeah.
that's why I say, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And if you don't take advantage of it, that's on you. So tell me about the Dirty Dutch label. How did you come up with it? What, it's just a record label, or is it like a,
Yeah. So the way I started, so I was doing all these gigs for all these promoters, and I felt like they would always give like specific guidelines, like yo, you got to play so and so style, you got to play this. And I was able to do like either hip hop events or electronic music events. And for this gig, they would book me for electronic music set, and for the other gig, it would be hip hop. But it was never like a big melting pot of different genres. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to play like an more open format set when I do my own shows.
right?
But nobody was offering me those platforms. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this shit myself. I'm basically gonna create this platform where I'm able to play whatever the fuck I want to play. So I started Dirty Dutch, which would refer to, let's say, Dirty would refer to more like the sound of the streets. So I established Dirty Dutch in like 2002, I want to say. And I started small events, doing like small club tours with my brand. And then build it to a point where my big show was for like 5,000 people. And that's when I knew, like, hey, I'm onto something. And I started building it and went bigger and bigger. And the same, at a certain point, I was getting like between 20,000 and 30,000 people at my events. That's when I knew like I was really onto something. But it was still a local brand. And luckily for me is that I started to create music which would totally fit my brand, and then that music got picked up international, and people automatically branded it like, yo, that sound, that particular sound is Dirty Dutch. And then, obviously it kicked in the door for like a lot of local DJs from the Netherlands, and a lot of them, they ran away with it, and made a name for themselves.
So the dirty house genre, that's just what? Is that hip hop or is that
it's
a
it's
hip hop
it's
mixed
more
with
like,
house?
so it was, so the whole idea was like hard pounding beats, like very rebellious, very like loud, with almost like a hip hop feel to it. Like I would use like a lot of hip hop vocals or hip hop drums, just to make it different and to show, to basically broadcast that I'm like displaying that I come from hip hop,
Okay.
and my luck, I guess, was that when I created that sound, there was nothing out there yet. Automatically, people were like, "Yo, you could definitely recognize this stuff." Like, "Oh, that's Dirty Dutch."
So
Um,
so you were always kind of DJing hip hop when you were younger, or were you doing EDM too?
no, but because back then there was no such thing as EDM, but I was playing, like I was buying electronic music records. You know what I'm saying? But I
Okay.
just gave it my own twist, because uh, the moment I started producing, I was like, okay, so now I'm able to produce whatever I'm hearing and whatever I think my dance floor needs. So I started, use different sounds from, just different from anybody, anything that was out back then. My early records I would buy would be definitely, something from the New York scene or the Detroit or Chicago scene. So of course the four to the floor beats, but I always gave it my own twist.
What would you say are the top 3 songs that contributed to people knowing who Chucky is? I'm going to tell you the 3 that I know. Let
Go
the
ahead.
Bass Kick, What Happens in Vegas, and Breaking Up. Breaking Up's like one of my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Breaking Up is
ah.
funny because Breaking Up was basically the first record I did when I just moved to Aruba. And I remember I had the guys from Glow in the Dark visiting my house in Aruba, and I had like a little room set up, like a little studio set up in one of the rooms, and we started working on some stuff. And I remember back then, Avicii was on the rise, and I'm like, yeah, man, I definitely feel those piano breaks, and I'm like, I need to fuck with that shit too. So we made like a break, and then Amanda Wilson came up with an amazing hook. So hold on one second. So we yeah, we knocked that record out in like one night, one session,
Oh,
which was
nice.
definitely cool. And then obviously the drop was very Dirty Dutch-ish. But yeah, so I want to say Let the Bass Kick. I want to say Mumba, and Mumba is basically the record that started the whole Moombahton genre. One of the most important records as well would be definitely the remix I did for David Guetta and Akon called "Sexy Bitch."
Yeah.
And that record, that specific record, that remix, I wanted to do something different. So basically, it was one of the first, I think, the first house or electronic music remix that had like a hip hop MC on top of it. Because I called Lil Jon, and that was when I had the session with Lil Jon in Vegas. I'm like, yo, I'm doing this remix for David Guetta, and I want you to be like a hype man on the record, like a Fatman Scoop kind of thing, but then in a Lil Jon way. Obviously, he was already doing those kind of chants on hip hop records. I'm like, yo, but I want you to do it on the electronic music record. He's like, okay, a weird flex, but okay, let's do it. So we recorded a bunch of stuff, and then that remix came out, and that remix also had that heavy, dirty Dutch sound. And then of course hip hop feel to it with like a hip hop MC on top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he was always after that. I mean, he was always at Murmur.
Yeah, and he's
More like,
like, you could ask
you
him, it's
know.
crazy. Like I never saw it that way, but he's like, yo, Chuck, I always gotta give you that credit that you basically brought me into electronic music or into EDM, because I never thought that my voice would fit over these beats, and I'm like, dude, that shit fits perfectly.
Wow, that's crazy though that you like gave Little John this opportunity to grow too.
Well, he sees
You
it.
know?
Yeah, he sees it that way. I was never like that. So yeah, it's crazy.
I know you said you did that song in one night, but how long does it usually take you to actually like do a whole new set or?
Sometimes it's in like an hour. Sometimes it takes me like a week. Depends on my inspiration, you know. But when I have a specific sound in mind, yeah, it's like an hour. The first setup would be like an hour, and then the record would be finished and finalized into the details like in 2 days or something.
So are
Yeah.
you like with DJing, it's just you're taking are you making your own beats and stuff and then putting it the sound
There's
together?
yeah. So what I basically so my DJ sets. So I kind of see it different. You know, like I became a DJ to entertain the crowd, right?
Hmm.
So I when I DJ, it's not I'm not there to display just my own songs. You know, I'm there to play the right song at the right time,
Okay.
and I tend to squeeze in my own tracks, like you know. So first of all, I always wanted people to know Chuckie as like a party rocker. You know, like somebody like Chuckie would come on. Okay, you know, the party's about to
We're
start.
about yeah, you
Right?
know, about to have a good time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you're gonna get all the songs you want to hear at that particular moment, and then you know, like when I started producing, I was like, okay, so what can I add to my set that would you know would totally be me, but then you know would definitely have people going like, whoa, what the fuck is this, you know?
Right.
So like, how could I squeeze in my own identity more into the sets? And that's how I started to mess around with different sounds, and you know started with mashups and started to do my own drum patterns and stuff. That's how I started to produce. But for me, DJing was always like, you know, I will play the right record at the right time. That was my main goal, and still is. Like, I don't do a set unless they ask me to. I don't do a set with just my records, you know, because it could be that I don't know, Calvin Harris just has that big hit at that very moment. So I drop it, and I might flip it into some of my own like stuff, like my own drop. But you know, I definitely want to capture that moment, like where everybody would sing along together, and you know, people would go home saying like, "Yeah,
That was
oh, that
great.
was so good. He played that new Calvin Harris at the right time," you know. So for me, you know, obviously throughout the years the whole way of people looking at DJ changed. But for me, you know, it's always important to rock the dance floor, and you know make people enjoy and forget about their daily you know problems
Yeah,
and
the
shit.
daily bullshit.
Yeah, exactly, you know. So but then you know obviously people started to buy tickets to hear that particular song from that particular DJ, which I'm quite 50-50 on, you know, because I enjoy playing other DJs music.
And they don't mind, like you're open to play anybody's music or
Yeah, if I like the song, like I'm open to play fun songs, you know. So like especially when you play in Vegas or even in AC, you know, people fly in from all over the world. They could be flying in from Japan and from Mexico and from Europe, and you know they're there for like a couple of days just to lose their mind in Vegas. So I'm not just gonna be there displaying. Yeah, this is a Chucky set. I'm there to make sure, because you know in Vegas we get paid well. So you know I'm there to do my job.
do you have like favorite DJs that you like to play during your set? Like do you have a top 3 that you like to play
No,
or is
not
it
really,
just a
because I
mixture?
do like my top genres. Like no, the one thing I want to say is I in like a lot of DJs always complain like, I don't like to play Vegas because I can't really play what I like. I'm like, yeah, then you should have not taken that gig in the first place. You know, I'm there. Like for me, the challenge is to rock the crowd with as many genres as possible when I play in
Okay.
Vegas. You know, that's where. So I could like I wouldn't play a pop song that I personally don't like, but I would like if I like a Britney Spears record, I like a Britney Spears record, and I will try to flip it in my own way. And but if I don't like a pop record, I don't care how popular it is, I won't play it. My musical taste is it's so wide, like anything. You know, I definitely appreciate a lot of different genres.
That's good. You have to be diverse, especially in the
No, I don't want to say you have to be diverse, because if you play in a techno party, in no way you're gonna play just
well, I
typical
mean, I
techno.
feel like you get more respect if you're diverse, you know what I mean? And like that's what people want. They want a little bit of everything kind of. And if you can twist it into people hearing like there's a song, I forget what song it was. But it's like a song you would never expect to be in like a EDM,
Well,
you know, and they
that's where the
twisted it
challenge
in and
is.
it just sounded hot as hell.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I find a challenge, because sometimes I do like a song, but I just don't like the structure of the song to to play it in my set. So I would definitely flip it and make it more workable for my sets, you know? And especially in Vegas, I don't even know how many times I just took a song and just flipped it just to make sure that it has that Chuckie touch.
The Chuckie touch. So can you tell me, where'd you get the name Chuckie? Because your name's Clyde, right?
Yeah.
So where'd you get the name Chuckie? Was it just a nickname?
I used to be a savage when I was young, and my friends used to call me Chuckie. I used to be like really short for my age, and
Oh,
like
Chuckie, like Chuckie,
the
like
doll.
the killer doll.
Yeah, exactly, like Chuckie the doll, and yeah, I used to be a savage, so my friends would call me Chuckie, and I just kind of stuck to that name.
So what would you say is your favorite like festival or arena that you've played so far in your career?
I have a top 5. I would say Tomorrowland, EDC, especially EDC Vegas, Sensation in Amsterdam. Basically, Sensation White is an event for like 40,000 people dressed in white in like a soccer arena. Mysteryland in Holland. Mysteryland is basically the older brother of Tomorrowland.
And how many people attend these? Like, what's the max?
75,000 or something
Okay.
like that. But you know what? It's not even about the bigger the better for me, because like I have some memorable like small ass club shows I did. I'm like, oh wow, like and those mean way more to me than any festival. Like I said, my first time I played in Vegas, I played like in a back room of Dre's, and I had the whole place jumping. Like
the after hours is always fun.
And I never witnessed, like after that, I never witnessed anything like it. Like people were literally throwing money into the DJ booth. Like it was so funny because I picked up the money. I'm like, yo, what am I supposed to do with this? The guy goes, yo, man, it's the way people appreciate you. And I remember it was like almost $4,000.
Wow.
That was crazy. I'm like, what? People do this in America? I gotta play here more often. Yeah.
So what country do you feel like supports you the most? Is there a specific one that you get so much love from? You're like, I can't wait to go back there.
I have like it's crazy. Like the top 5 cities that's like I get the most streams from, or support from, would definitely be New York, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Venezuela. Crazy. Like Caracas. I have so many people from that place just always been supporting me. I guess my sound just really fits there like really well. My first show in Caracas was like 5,000 people as well. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? And they treated me like I was Michael Jackson, Yeah.
Wow.
But tour wise, I must say, like there's nothing like the USA. Like I had amazing times in places like Brazil and Argentina, but the thing I like about the States is it's so diverse. Like I play a totally different set in New York than I play in Vegas or LA or Miami, yeah, that's it's so definitely the States.
I mean, I remember the first time I saw you was at HQ in AC.
Oh wow, but that's what I'm talking about. Those like those days, like there's no festival that could compete with those days for me personally.
Did you like beach club or nightclub better?
Kind of both, but the beach club would set the tone. I feel like we kind of wrote history.
It was great. I mean, that was especially in Atlantic City because there's not much there. There's not much left. Revel was huge. I opened Revel, so I was working at the pool and stuff. But it was a nice casino, but it was just in a shitty area. And the fact that you could get all these people, like it was packed all the time.
And I felt that city needed that kind of love. So I was always like, yo, whenever you guys want to book me, I'm open. I don't care if the fee is whatever it is. I'm there. I know you guys. You had a shitty, because I think the hurricane hit and stuff like that. And
yeah, it's not like
and
it
the nightlife wasn't really popping. So I would take the gig in AC and would call like all my New York friends, even like including all the big spenders. Like, yo, guys, you gotta come support in AC. I promise you, it's gonna be crazy. The hotel isn't even expensive. Just book a room, get there for the day party, get fucked up, and we party at the night again. Those were the best times. But that's what I mean. Like those kind of shows, they mean way more to me than any big festival because of the big numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we definitely were part of changing nightlife at that very moment.
Yeah, and it was just, I mean, it was so hype. We would go in, we would, you know, fucking, those were the Molly days. So everybody's just rolling their face off, listening to Chuckie.
You know,
And
funny enough, fun fact, I never took drugs. I never did like X, never E, nothing,
have you
never
ever
coke.
you smoke at all?
I used to smoke weed. I used to be a stoner, trust me.
Yeah, I'm definitely a
And the funny
stoner.
part is the moment I stopped smoking, my career just went up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I remember this one time. So you were at the nightclub and you had finished your set. I guess you were walking across the floor, the casino floor at Ocean. Well, it's now
Was I
Ocean.
walking or crawling?
Well, no, you were walking. You were drunk, I guess. But I was walking with my
You were
girl.
always drunk, Nikki.
But you wait. Do you drink?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were completely sober.
Oh no.
So I remember I was with my girl at the time, and she was obsessed with you. Like, I only went to the show because she's like, Chuckie's here, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, this shit's hot, you know, because I thought it was all EDM at first. I didn't realize that you had that twist on it. So then once I heard that, I was like hooked. I'm like, all right, this guy's fucking great. So we were on the casino floor, and you walk by, and you see me. And you stop and you're like, hey, and you come and give me a kiss on the cheek. And then you kept walking. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? You just got Chuckie just kissed you. She's like, why didn't you ask to go to his room? I'm like, I'm not thirsty. What do you mean? I don't even.
No, it was more. I think I was definitely fucked up. But I would never do it. Like, yo, guys, come to my room, unless we were like with a group to party. You know?
Yeah, but it was funny because that's how I remember it. I was like,
yeah.
she was so
like,
mad.
I always, it's funny. Like when we, I guess we all like when you drink, you feel like you feel the love.
Yeah, I get basically.
When my career started to just, let's say, blow up, France was also one of the first countries to really embrace me because I did a remix for David Guetta, I did a remix for Bob Sinclair, and those French radio stations would heavily support my remixes and my original work. And I remember one of the first thing, and I think it was Kiss Friends or something like that. Anyway, they invited me, and I did this. This is back in 2008. I did this set in the Virgin Megastore in Paris. It was one of those moments that definitely helped my career just blow up because back then going viral was a unique thing,
Right.
And I remember I did a set for the radio, and it was also, you could also see the video, and I was just going wild, doing all kinds of crazy shit behind the booth, and people would be like, "Oh, yo, this guy's crazy," and I think it was that particular radio station. That's why they I think.
Oh, okay. So Dirty Dutch Radio? What's that?
So Dirty Dutch Radio again was, when I started my platform and I got the opportunity to go international. They offered me to do my own Dirty Dutch radio show in 45 countries, and I'm like, hell yeah! If I get a chance to display and my sound and the people I want to support, I'll take this opportunity. So I did about 250 shows, and basically I would never play the big tunes, like the big songs. I would always play that one song that, from this one unknown producer, and I would find like 15 songs. I would do it on a weekly basis and play only like the newest shit.
And that's through like a stream, or is it on?
No, it was like broadcasting on like electronic music radio stations all countries. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So does it still happen or no?
The thing for me was it was so hard to combine with tour life. So I did like 45. I did like 250 shows, and at a certain point I had to make decisions, and those were things that I really think about now. Like, yeah, man, was it the right decision or not? And one of the hardest decisions was to quit doing a radio because I simply couldn't combine it with studio work and traveling, and
yeah, it's a lot.
And then because the one thing about radio is you got to be consistent, and I couldn't be that consistent, so I'm like, nah, never mind. Well, 250 shows, which is 250 weeks, and I'm done with it.
Yeah, that's a lot. What would you say is the hardest obstacle that you had to overcome in the industry?
Who I think, um, uh, you know, people were like very prejudged. Were like, okay, here's this guy. Oh, I didn't know he's playing electronic music. He shows up with like baggy pants and snapbacks and hoodies. Like, a lot of times I would show up at a place like, oh, you're Chuckie? Like, and I had to learn how to deal with that kind of stuff. Like, it's very relevant, this topic right now.
Right.
And I feel it as well. Like, I've been there many times. Like, people are like, okay, what are you gonna go do? I'm just here to play my set. Oh, okay. Even like when I started doing VIP clubs, like right now it's way more acceptable. But like when VIP clubs started growing and growing, in the beginning, everybody would be like dressing up, wearing a shirt, and I would show up like looking like this. And even the bouncer would be like, "Okay, are you at the right? Are you sure you're at the right spot?" Yeah. I had those things many times. I even witnessed many times that people would prefer, let's say, somebody else because I look the way I look.
Wow.
Which, and I had it. I definitely experienced that in Holland way back because there was a big difference between playing at a hip hop club or playing at an electronic music club.
Hmm.
Me showing with my 8 best friends in a car, everybody looking like me at an electronic music event. There would be many times people be like, "Okay, what are you doing here?" You know, Crazy. Yeah,
You feel
so
like you're
crazy.
more
We
accepted,
fought
like,
and we like, yeah, they would also like, if I would do like a more hip hop kind of show, they would offer us the shittiest night at the shittiest clubs. And the great clubs would be like all electronic music. And I was always the guy trying to fight, try to get like a more open format into these nice clubs.
do you
But
feel like
that,
you
that
still have those issues now, or is it just not exist for you now that you're who you are?
it exists, yeah, way less. It's still there, but not as much as it used to be. But I had big, like, I was trying, like, I would try to book a club and like, okay, so what do you want to do? Like, even when I would call like, yo, I'm Chucky and I want to do this, they would be like, no, we ain't got no spot for you. And then later, when my movement became massive, they would be like, yeah, whatever you want.
Can you tell me about the Fuck Cancer event that you do in Miami?
So yeah, it's very clear to me. Like every year, obviously, we have the Winter Music. No, they call it the Miami Music Week.
Hmm.
And the whole idea for everybody is basically to display whoever you are and to display, you as an artist. And, there's a lot of money going around and involved. And I'm like, this is for me, this is the perfect moment to display what I stand for and what I definitely want to support. And I felt like, okay, everybody's on their own thing and doing their own thing, and I choose to support a certain cause. Also because I lost my mother to cancer, so when they call me like, yo, we want to do an event, and I'm like, yo, let's do it together. Cancer, fuck cancer.
Right.
Luckily, my friends at Rockwell, they were like, yo, Chucky, it's so great to have you on board. So what do you want to do? I'm like, yo, I want to do this for cancer event. I don't want money, but let's collect as much as we can and then donate it to fuck cancer. So a night like that, we collect around 30,000, 40,000 and just donate it, which is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
the Miami Music Week is such a big platform for everybody that I felt like that's the right time to show what causes you support. And we've been, and also the one thing I like about it is I take that night specifically to do like a hip hop event meets the whole electronic music
Okay,
craze
so like
around that.
and that's
Yeah,
a special set for you, right? Because
yeah.
you're
So I'm
playing for
like,
what you
okay,
believe in, you're playing for your mom, you have this
yeah.
whole.
Yeah, and then obviously you obviously get a lot of support from other DJs because it's a good cause. Like, so basically, I use that week to create awareness.
So that's every week? I mean, every year?
Every year consistent. Like, I'm like, we got to do this fuck cancer event. And it turns out it's like one of my most fun gigs to do during that whole week.
It's at Rockwell?
That's at Rockwell.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever been there yet, but I love Miami. I can't wait. I
you
was
should
trying to
come to
move
Miami.
there before Vegas, and they had a hurricane. I'm like, what the fuck, these hurricanes?
You know what? When I was trying to move to because I was trying to move to Miami, and then obviously it was like hurricane season, and I'm like, fuck that.
I was like, I don't want to evacuate again. Like I already had to do that shit in Jersey. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
So what would you say are the favorite people? Because I saw you also produced for a lot of big names as well. So what would you say is your favorite people that you produced for or worked with?
I did this one song. Surprisingly, like people never expected I would produce a song for her. Was for Marina and the Diamonds. This track called Radioactive. You should write it down. It's a great song.
Radioactive?
Yeah, for Marina and the Diamonds. Um, but I always, you know what? I always enjoyed working with guys like Jermaine Dupri or Lil Jon. You know, me and Lil Jon wrote a couple of songs for Pitbull's album. One thing I really enjoyed doing was writing a track for J Balvin. Machika, I did a track which people would never expect me to, as a, known as an electronic music producer to.
Now you're doing something for a Latin artist.
Yeah, exactly. I even like won like a Latin Grammy nomination for it, which is crazy. Being
Nice.
part of like a Latin Grammy nominated album, that's I could never dream of those things. But that's definitely, I must say, I always enjoy working with. Let me see, who's one of my favorite producers to work with. I work with Stargate. Stargate's basically like they wrote the biggest hits for Rihanna.
Okay.
And I always enjoyed working with them. Yeah, and I must say lately, also because of the whole crisis, I've been working on building a new studio, and I kind of feel like I don't want to tour that much anymore, so I want to be more in the studio and focus on songwriting again.
I was gonna ask you, like, how often do you travel when it's not COVID and you're allowed to? Like, what's your schedule like?
So basically, I decided to slow down in 2015 already, but I didn't slow down like immediately. It took like 3 years to slow down because otherwise people would be like, "What the fuck's going on with him? Is he not? Is he okay?"
Right.
So I took the decision in 2015, and at this point, like I will do like 10 gigs a month max. I felt comfortable doing that because then I had way more time to be creative in different ways. I even started like a publishing company, and my publishing company, like I started to sign songwriters. I signed to my publishing company was Jayon. Jayon was a guy. He's a guy from Aruba, funny enough, and he wrote Machika, and he also wrote the song Ekis from Nicky Jam and J Balvin, which is one of the biggest Latin songs from. It's
What's the
already
name of the publishing company?
It's called CSN Publishing.
Okay.
It's a JV. It's a JV I have with Sony ATV.
Nice.
But it's not like a company I promote because it's a publishing company. There's nothing sexy about a publishing company. It's basically a place where I sign songwriters in, but the song, the fact that one of my songwriters wrote one of the biggest Latin songs of the last decade says something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, do you have family?
Yeah.
Like, you have a daughter or a son?
Yeah, I got 2 daughters, 1 son, and I got a wife.
So how do you manage doing this whole time? How do you manage all this shit? Even though you're slowed down, 10 gigs a month is every other day almost. You know what I mean?
Like twice a week or something, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you like manage that with the family? Is it hard to do all that?
Oh, definitely
that
not.
time?
No, definitely not, because it's easier to balance when you do only 10 gigs a month.
Okay.
Definitely
like,
like be
nothing.
home during the week. Like I would be home during the weekend and fly off to Vegas for the weekend, or Asia, whatever. So that's very doable. But there was like between 2009 and 15, that was crazy. I was gone for like 95% of my time, which made absolutely no sense. I mean, of course, you're very successful in touring, and your name is out there, but that's not the way I measure success. Success for me is when you get to enjoy the success with the people you love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where I found my balance. Like, you know what? Okay, if I'm successful, my family gotta feel that they're successful as well by me being home for my kids. So
Yeah,
that's how
it doesn't mean anything if you're not there to spend the time with them, you know?
Yeah, that's not, to me, that's not success if your kids grow up without a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I tried to find that balance, and I kind of did starting 2015 and build it up, and then I was in a really good spot until this whole COVID-19 hit us.
Yeah, this slowed everybody down.
Which is good. I must say, my thing I wouldn't say it's like it kind of gives you time to reflect on what's really important.
I mean, I've utilized my time so well in the being off. I was still working, unfortunately, from home, trying to do shit. So I kept myself really busy the whole time. So,
I think that's very important to keep your spirit high,
Well, I mean, I definitely got more into like meditation, get my yoga, like making sure my energies are good. I'm just like totally about like positive affirmations now. So it's really, it's like a whole different thing. You know what I mean? When you think about being successful, like that's how it turns into success. So for now, it's like, I already felt 2020 was going to be a great year. I don't think COVID, I think, COVID gave everyone a chance to think about it, but I'm ready to get back to the grind. Like,
like I still feel like for me personally, on a spiritual level and physical level, 2020 is like definitely my year. I'm like, you can't even believe how balanced I feel at this very moment. My mindset is great. Like I feel so calm and relaxed, and maybe also because our whole industry is just, it's all about rushing and getting to your next gig and getting to your next gig. And it's the thing is, it's never enough. Like you post something, you get a couple of thousand likes, but it's never enough. You always want more. And then I'm like, okay, but how you try to score, but how are you scoring if you got no goal? It's at some point you got to be satisfied with what you accomplish. And I think we were constantly in that rush, and I'm like, no. First thing I got to get straight for myself, me personally, is okay. What are your goals? When are you happy with whatever you want to achieve? And you know, so I started to set goals for myself. Like, I'd be more than happy if I do 10 gigs a month. So I started to set small goals, and I think that's the most important thing. And it even got confirmed, like when the COVID-19 hit. Like, okay, so what are other goals you want to accomplish? So I'm like, okay, I got to be physically in shape, because ain't no way I'm gonna lose twice. First of all, we already lost of this whole COVID-19 thing. I ain't gonna lose physically or mentally. Are you crazy? I gotta get in the shape of my life. So the moment this shit hit, first thing I did, I'm like, yo, okay, if I'm coming out of this COVID-19 period, I got at least read a couple of books.
Right, do something.
Or learn like a different language.
How many languages can you speak?
So I can. If I'm drunk, I'm very good at Spanish. But I took a Spanish I took a Spanish course, so I understand Spanish. But I speak Dutch. I can speak German. I understand French, but I'm a little bit lousy in French, but I can understand it. I speak the native language of Suriname. I speak the native language of Aruba.
Wow, I didn't even know Aruba had their own language.
Yeah, it's very similar to Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, I should know Spanish, but my dad didn't try to teach me until I was like 13. And then at that point, I was like, I don't want to learn the language. My dad's from Nicaragua.
Oh, I love Nicaragua.
Would you go there for like surfing, or you just go there to visit?
Visit DJ. Food, definitely food.
Yeah, I went there once. It was nice. It was really pretty, but they're like, it's a whole nother world down there. And they were doing guerrilla warfare and shit. Like now they're doing the COVID thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
crazy. Like,
I saw your president. I saw like your president went off the grid for like 30 days and nobody knew where he was.
Yeah. So what's the ultimate goal from this point now that you've slowed down? I know you got your mental health together, you got your physical health together. What's upcoming for Chuckie in the music world?
So one of my goals was to start like a publishing company, which I achieved. But now I want to score more and more hits within the publishing company. So basically, I want to be successful without all the traveling still, which is kind of hard because the majority of the money we make on tour. So now I want to see if I could still make that same kind of money without touring.
Right.
So that's one of my main goals. But basically, I want to be able to be successful with um, with this same physical shape and mental shape I'm in right now. So from where I'm standing right now, try to be successful, which is hard because I'm telling you, if the moment I start traveling, I'm scared if I can keep up with my diet or my workouts and stuff. So I'm gonna try to stick to it as much as I can, and that's gonna be a task for sure.
So do you have anything that is upcoming that you're hoping will be in like 2021 or like where you're playing?
So I think obviously touring is going to start in 2021. But my main focus was for 2020 and 2021 was to make more music, because my focus wasn't there for quite a minute because I was touring so much. Gigs are going to come in, but I'm going to be very picky with the gigs. Yeah, I want to be in the studio. So hopefully, if I can make a couple of pop hits, I'd be more than happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you have any other talents? Do you have any hidden talents besides DJing?
I know how to cook well.
Okay, so you're a chef.
Yeah, and obviously, because of this whole COVID-19 thing, no, I'm saying I have to say it right. Because I slowed down, I was able to start other business ventures. Like I own I'm basically working on my own franchise of barbershops. So I have one now, but I'm gonna open the second one soon. And the goal is to open like 20 of them within a year and a half.
In the US or where?
Starting in Amsterdam. I'm definitely gonna franchise all over the place because nowadays, with the internet, it's easy to expand your franchise.
You're just so busy. Like, I don't know how, like, it's crazy because you got so much going on. So just to balance it, you have to be mentally like to balance that shit, because that's why I smoke. I couldn't do it. I'm busy all the time. I couldn't do it not high. I'd be fucking annoyed as hell.
No, I'm trying to be so I try to accomplish everything I'm trying to accomplish, like in the best mental shape ever. You know what I'm saying? And it requires focus, definitely. But that's my whole point. I'm trying to be in shape in a natural way without taking any substances or whatever, which is quite a challenge because I reached a lot and I've seen the world with while drinking and partying with everybody, and now it's just I'm trying to do it with a different discipline.
Do you have any advice for any like upcoming DJs or people that haven't been discovered yet?
Yeah, it's very simple. Set a goal high enough, and then work your ass off. It's basically that simple. And people are always gonna be like, yeah, but it's easy for you to talk. No, that's exactly what I did. I set a goal eventually, and then work my ass off to get somewhere or near my goal. And if you accomplish that goal, then you go on to the next goal. When I started DJing, my goal was never to travel the world, but at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I do want to travel the world with my job. And once I accomplished that, traveling around the world many times, I was like, okay, I got to find new goals. You know what I'm saying? And then one of the goals, for example, like, you want to score like a big pop song or like a big electronic music song. That's a goal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you got to set goals and then work your ass off for it.
Got to work for it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. When can we listen to your live streams? Every week?
I'll announce them on my socials, but the next one's gonna be on my birthday, June 25th.
When's your birthday? June 25th.
But I think I'm gonna move it to the Saturday, which is gonna be June 27th.
Okay.
Which would be Saturday. And then sometimes I'll just go live without announcing.
Okay, so we can follow at DJ Chuckie. All right, well, I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. Enjoy your day in Amsterdam.
Thank you so much.
Okay.